Defense News. It's proudly sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union. If you're a member of our nation's armed forces, the Department of Defense, or if your family is, we'd be proud to serve you too.
On this episode of Defense News Weekly, we visit the Marines at Gruntworks to get a look at the latest in body armor. Also, we head to a Special Air Warfare Symposium to check out the latest in equipment that could be headed to your unit. From a battery-operated watercraft capable of delivering operators and their gear to the shore undetected, to advanced thermal optics that could give U.S. forces more of an edge at night. It's the latest in news and analysis from the Pentagon to the platoon, here on Defense News Weekly.
So we're here on Marine Corps Base Quantico at the Marine Corps Systems Command Gruntworks. That's because the Marines are developing new and fielding new sizes and types of body armor and plate carriers. And that's important because when you're in the battlefield, one shot can make a big difference. So Gunner Hutchison, I understand we have a new plate carrier for the Marines, different sizes and different ways of putting it together. Can you tell us a little about what the Marines had before and what they have now?
Yeah, of course. So before we had the PC Gen 2, and it come in your standard sizes that was out there. And then recently we moved up to PC Gen 3. This is what we have listed back here. So the PC Gen 3 is interesting because it's modular in sense. So going from full setup as you see here, or it can go down to a slicker setup as you see here. One of the additions that went to it is we got away from the standard, small, medium, large, extra large plates, and we started getting into more of the ergonomics of the plates that fit the actual individual. So meeting, from one scale all the way to the other scale, so that we capture actually more of the sizes and more of the actual fit of the person.
Now, it might seem obvious to someone who's used body armor, but for someone who's not, why is the fit so important?
Yeah, so the fit's an important thing because efficiency, movement, all the things that we go into. So when you have something generally that it doesn't fit you properly, it takes a lot of energy out of you. So when we start getting things that fit your body more in a form factor, more form fit, then you actually save your energy, your endurance as you're going, because that's one less thing that you're fighting. You have something that fits properly and it fits to your body the right way. So now that's one less thing that you have to continue to worry about in the sense of one thing eating away from energy on the missions that you go out on.
Now some people might say, well, this looks a lot smaller than what you've seen before. Back in the past we had much larger body armor. So how does this provide the protection you need even though it's a smaller form?
Yeah, great question. So a lot of science has went into this. So when they look at these things, when they break it down, as you can see in the plates that we have here for the vital parts, the vital organs, we've tried to slim it down in a sense that one, it covers all the things that are necessary, and the amount of research and technology that's went into this is not the plates of old. Where we're at today, it's fitting the things that we need as we have laid out here, as well as making it modular in the sense that it fits in the most ergonomical means necessary for the individual user.
And I couldn't talk about body armor without talking about weight. So obviously carrying a lot of weight back in the past, things have gotten lighter over time. Can you tell us about the difference in weight and feel, I guess, between the Gen 2 and the Gen 3?
Yeah, so weight is always a big thing when you go out, especially on your missions. You're walking around with this for long periods of time. Ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain mindset. So just by going with the laser cut technology that we have in the vest, the ones before in the PC Gen 2, it was the weaving that was stitched on, the fabric was all stitched on. So by taking that out and actually laser cutting into the vest, we've been able to shave weight, most optimal.
So Gunnar, can we go over and take a look at what the PC2 and the PC3 look like side by side?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. All right, so what's new and different about this right now?
All right, so as you can see, the first feature is all of the weaving is off, all the stitching, and it's laser cut. So still has the attachment points for all of your accessories, grenade pouches, magazine pouches, first aid kits are all there. But what they found through research is shaving or taking the webbing off and laser cutting it saves 25% in weight reduction. So going from that to this is pretty substantial. So when you look some of the added changes, you still have the quick connects up here. And now you have these releases on either side as opposed to the pull cord that was just on the one side of the PC Gen 2. Configuration, the differences in between this one and that one is this one is a full setup, which then can break all the way down to a setup similar to this. The advantages of all of the setups and the modularity is you still maintain the soft armor protection as well as the SAPI protection that's needed. One of the things that we see is when you transition, people will ask the question, well, what about the armor level protection? The armor level protection remains the same throughout all of the configurations of this one because you still maintain the soft armor inside and you still maintain the SAPIs.
Well, what kind of feedback have you been getting so far from Marines who've been able to use the new vest?
Yeah, so far the new vest consists in our infantry and infantry-like as well as our infantry schoolhouses, and the feedback has been extremely well. Everyone seems to like the modularity of it. Everyone seems to like the new plates that go into it that are more ergonomic for the individual user. The days of the past of one size fits most, we're going with that. As we continue to shape and modernize, we're getting things that are specifically fitted to the individual. So when they go to the issue facility, they're sized and they're matched up for the proper gear that they need by individual. So as they go through in the past, you sort of had the standard setups of the small, medium, large, extra large, and if you were in between, you just sort of had to fall in which one fit better.
Hey Gunnar, thanks. This has been super interesting. We're gonna go find out a little bit more about how it's been engineered.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Trevor, thanks for joining us. Could you tell us a little bit about your role in developing this plate carrier?
Yes, I'm an engineer for the individual armor team.
Okay. And so we've had plate carriers before, but what went into developing this particular design?
Yeah, so one of the things we have to talk about with any design of our equipment is that we designed a requirements. So it's not just us sitting down with good ideas, it's all requirement based. And so the PC Gen 3, we have significant weight reduction that offers a wider range of sizes to better fit all Marines.
So I know they're all different sizes, so a little bit different weights, but on average, how much did the previous plate carrier weigh and how much does it weigh now?
Yeah, so the PC Gen 3 reduces weight by about 25% from the legacy plate carrier. So it was about 8.5 pounds for the size medium and legacy, and it's 6.5 pounds now for a size medium.
And I understand design-wise, there were some design features that you guys worked on. What did you guys have to develop to make those changes? Yeah,
so one of the ways we were able to decrease weight is by using lighter weight materials. So we have the laser cut, as you can see, for the PALs, which is where you attach your pouches. And then one of the biggest advances has been soft armor. We have a lot better soft armor technology in this vest, which has led to that decrease in weight. Even since the initial fielding of the PC Gen 3, we've already made some minor changes to it from feedback that we've received from Marines. Some of the things that we were seeing is that we were having some durability issues with the tubes on the side that were pulling out. We've had issues with the slide fastener underneath where the plate goes in, and then some other issues with the hook and loop fastener, which is how everything attaches. So what we were able to do is, through engineering change proposals, we were able to make some adjustments, and we fixed those problems now.
So the plate carrier doesn't just stand alone. A Marine doesn't go into combat or training just carrying a plate carrier. There are other parts of the system. Can you talk about any changes that might have been made to those pieces of the system?
Sure, yeah. So it goes back to the requirements that I was talking about before. And in 2016, we received a new fit attribute requirement. And this means that we have to now fit the 2nd percentile female to the 98th percentile male Marine. Previously, it was just the 5th to 95th Marine. So now we have those new fit attributes, and which means we need some smaller sizes to fit the entire population of the Marine Corps. So since the USMC pack was developed prior to 2016, we needed to come up with some new sizes in order to fit that smaller population of Marines. So we came up with the short shoulder harness and the small hip belt, and this is able to better fit those short torsoed, smaller statured Marines.
So the different kind of size of stature Marines have different options for fitting the gear, not only the plates themselves, but also the gear that kind of connects to it.
Correct, yeah. So something that's very important with the pack is actually how the shoulder harness fits and the torso length of the person that's wearing it. So you want it to be able to sit on, all the weight to be able to sit on your hips. And by having a short shoulder harness, we're able to move that hip belt onto the hips where it best is able to support that load.
Did some of that development come from Marines using and testing the gear?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. We were finding that they weren't able to have the hip belt in the correct place on their hips in order to best support that load they were carrying. So this is what led to the development of the short shoulder harness and the small hip belt, and they're now at the issue facilities for Marines to go and pick up.
So we've seen a lot about the plate carrier Generation 3, and for more, tune in at militarytimes.com.
When we come back, highlights from the Special Air Warfare Symposium. Need to get your operators to the beach and be sneaky about it? Check out a jet board meant to get the job done.
So we're here at the Global Soft Foundation's annual Special Air Warfare Symposium. We're talking with the folks at KRACA here. Rob is going to show us a little bit about the dive board. So Rob, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, absolutely. First, thanks for having me talking. My name is Rob Wentowski. I'm with Seoul Marine. I'm the U.S. rep, and we're demonstrating the KRACA board. So the KRACA board is a rapidly inflatable jet board, 3 pieces, an inflatable board, a drive unit, and a lithium-ion battery that goes in there.
Now, I played a little bit with Zodiac boats when I was in the Marine Corps. Now, you got a little bit of a background in yourself. Tell me what your background is and how this is different than what I played with many years ago in the Marines.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a retired Navy diver, retired W5. Spent most of my time within special operations as well as hard hat diving. And so the thing that makes this great, and for my time in spec war, is the ability to flex this piece of kit expeditionary and deploy it rapidly is what makes it a real game changer. I can use this for an infill, exfil, CAS evacuation, surveillance and reconnaissance, humanitarian assistance, disaster recovery. And those two are because the draft on this, different than the Zodiac, which you asked me, and the Wingboat now, has a deeper draft with the outboard motor, where we are jet-driven impeller with a draft of only 16 inches.
You mentioned batteries, so tell me a little bit about how this thing works.
So it's the board's deflated, obviously. We inflate it probably 3/4. We slide in the drive unit through some runners, and then the lithium-ion battery slides in here and locks down. And then it's turned on, and then you can decide what mode you're going to operate in. We have 3 speeds, 3 modes. We have a stealth, 1 to 2 knots, no wake. A second mode, which is endurance, 4 to 7 knots, and then speed, 18 knots. At the high end, if you're operating just like a EV car, you're going to consume battery. So at 18 knots, you'll probably get 40 to 50 minutes on that, whereas in the stealth mode, you probably get 18 hours. But we have a new battery coming out within the next couple months that we've gotten 52% more endurance on that. So you can go faster or longer if you need to.
And I imagine with the battery power, it's a quieter operation.
Absolutely. Another great feature about this is the signature, the low silhouette, the battery, quiet. It's not an outboard, the fuel consumption, all that stuff. And like I said, you can rapidly put it together, and you don't necessarily need a coxswain course to get qualified on this. Myself, I could take you out, and within 2 minutes, you'd be operating that. It's very intuitive.
It's a very quick learning, a short learning curve.
Short, extremely short, and also too, to set it up and do maintenance is short.
And I understand that this is not yet a program of record, but it is being played with a little bit. Probably can't say who, but can you tell us a little bit about I guess kind of how it's being experimented with now?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started introducing the KRACA board to the U.S. market just about a year ago. It's been in European Scandinavia, doing really well over there and employed through all their forces. And now in the United States, in special operations and conventional forces, we've had demos with both Big Army, USASOC, NSW, AFSOC,
yeah. A lot of places. So now, with these individual craft, I imagine you can kind of like scale up and scale down. So if
Absolutely.
you wanted a three operator team, or all the way up to like 6 or 8 guys, you could have that.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the extremis is our 1K, so 2,250 pounds. We've floated razors, quads, all kinds of things, up to 2,250 pounds. And then at the lower end, this is a 250, which is 550 pounds. More like a smaller load, 2 guys, everything, or surveillance, reconnaissance, quick deployment. And also another key factor too is each battery and drive unit goes in the same board. All 4 boards. So I don't need a different battery or drive unit for each different board.
All interchangeable.
All interchangeable.
All uniform.
And also, this is all wet mateable. So for those that don't understand that, I can plug in, plug out all the features, the electronics in there. I can swap out the battery. If I'm carrying an extra battery, I can swap that out, all underway.
You can power everything on board as well as use different or new devices that come into the system.
Absolutely. We have plugs and programs, and we're adaptable to our end users, our customers. If they said, hey, I'd like another plug because I have another sensor. So we have a gyro stabilizer that can hold up to 70 pounds. So whatever your sensor package is, whether it's camera, counter UAS, or...
So I understand you may not need a driver for this.
Correct. So you can operate the Cracker board manually, remotely, and autonomously. And we can operate through like a Sylvius radio, MPU-5, Starlink, whatever you want to operate it on.
So a lot of the concepts within both maritime and air, and even on the ground now, are these kind of robotic wingmen, so to speak.
Yep.
So you could essentially pilot a couple extra boats with you as even a solo driver.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have our program and our autonomous feature, so I can make a swarm. If I wanted a swarm of this or any other boat that's on our package with our beacon, it can track all that and control it.
Well, a swarm of raiders or steels coming at me sounds kind of intimidating, so I'm gonna leave that there. Cool. We were talking with Rob about the Kraka, interesting maritime capability for special operations, and see more at Gear Scout.
When we return, our financial advisor is back to explain the benefits of mobile banking. On this edition of Money Minute, Jeanette Mack from Navy Federal Credit Union is back with her latest advice for financial success.
Millions of consumers use mobile banking, but there's also millions who don't. If you're in the latter category, are you worried you'd be putting your identity and your money at risk? Or maybe you haven't used it before and you just don't know how. Well, neither of these should be reasons to avoid using a service that can save you time and money. 2 things you can never have enough of. It's about convenience and control. Never leave home to bank and always bank on your time. That's the beauty of mobile banking. Make deposits, transfer money to friends and family, and more. The app can even warn you when you spend more than you have, allowing easy transfers between your accounts to cover expenses. If you're nervous about the security of mobile banking, there's no need. Mobile banking is safer than ever, and they're set up to either use your fingerprint, Face ID, and use 2-factor authentication to securely log in. Take your money matters into your own hands, literally. Use mobile banking to help you manage your money like a pro.
To get more coverage of military and defense topics, slip into that ghillie suit and hide out for a while with militarytimes.com and defensenews.com. And to be the most up-to-date intelligence officer in the business, sign up for our early bird brief, compiled each morning bringing you the most recent headlines. And if social media is where you collect open source intelligence, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X. And for you Gen Z troops, we're on TikTok, so go find us there as well. When we return, ATN produces thermal optics and night vision for the military and civilians. We take a look.
We're at the Global South Foundation's annual Special Air Warfare Symposium in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Talking with ATN, the manufacturer of sensors and night vision and thermal optics. Reza, can you tell us a little about some of the products you guys have here?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. ATN Corp is a manufacturer of high-end, low-cost, state-of-the-art thermal imaging and night vision equipment. We started off in the mid-90s out of San Francisco, California. We've now evolved and are located out of Doral, Florida, near Southcom, and really known for our high-end, low-cost, again, state-of-the-art products, ranging from night vision equipment, dual-tube night vision goggles, to really state-of-the-art thermal imaging equipment that is really making a big difference within the industry, both on the commercial-wise and the military government side of the house.
Now, these aren't just pieces that are being used here locally or even by the U.S. military. They're also being used overseas. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a great success over the last couple of years. In fact, dating back 10 or 15 years. In particular, with the last 2 years, we have shipped over 60,000 units to Ukraine. And that's quite remarkable when a small company such as ours can ship in that amount of time 60,000 units. And this, with all the supply chain problems and issues going on around the world and within the industry, this is something we're very proud of.
And cost is a huge issue. So now, you do sell these obviously to government entities like you just mentioned, but I guess someone could buy this on retail or commercial. You can talk a little about the price difference, why you guys are able to do such a lower price on some of these things.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. The reason why our products are very inexpensive is because we control the technology. So we don't have to go out and source it or relabel it and buy it from someone else. And when you control the technology as such, the way we do, then you also control the pricing. And then we pass on the savings both to the government, the end users, and on the commercial side to our commercial customers also.
So we have a couple other products out here. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about some of the specifics on what we're looking at here in front of us?
Yeah, absolutely. And let's start off with this. This is we're very proud to be introducing the TTM-18 Tactical Thermal Imaging Monocular. This will go in front of your scope, your daytime scope, to make your scope a thermal imager. It can be mounted onto a helmet or used as a handheld. It's equipped with a 640 by 480 resolution sensor. Really, the industry standard for something like a product like this is about $16,000 to $20,000. We will be coming in at less than half the price, and this is something we're really excited about in 2025 and beyond.
Can you tell us about some of the entities that currently use some of your products in the U.S. military?
Sure, absolutely. Obviously, there's pockets of the U.S. government, within the military, the U.S. Army, the Special Forces community, the U.S. Navy, the Marine Corps, and of course a lot of the federal agencies and law enforcement alike.
Now, we got some new product out here that you've been showcasing for us, but is there anything in the works coming up in the coming years or in the coming months that we might see? Any sneak peeks?
Sure. Anti-drone defense systems are something we're getting into. Just our technology is evolving and has evolved so much that the capabilities are enormous. So you're going to start seeing us not only in electro-optics from handheld devices to rifle-mounted and weapons-mounted systems, but also anti-drone defense systems. We have this system that goes on to RPGs and grenade launchers, currently being used in theater right now in Ukraine. So it's a real exciting time for us. And we look at ourselves not just as a traditional night vision company, but we are, with our roots, and it's in our bones, being from the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, we are essentially a tech company. So we're no longer just an analog night vision, which is great. Night vision is great, but it is analog technology. We have really evolved over the last 5 or 10 years into really a company that's well known for its digital products, and that is the wave of the future. It's thermal imaging and digital day-night systems, also known as CMOS technology.
One of the ways Reza kind of explained some of the technology is the legacy stuff is great, but it's kind of like having the iPhone 2 when you could have the iPhone 16. So
that's exactly right.
If that helps me make a better sense of it, I'll try to use it that way. Yeah. So learn about thermals and optics and different types of sensors and technologies, everything from drones to rifles to binoculars to helmets. We've got a lot of optics information, sensor information going on right here.
Yeah, it's ever evolving and it's getting better and better with each version that we're introducing. And being nimble and agile the way we are introducing new products every year, which is quite exciting for us.
Thank you for taking time to explain this
to us. Of course. It is our pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's all we have time for in this episode. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.